Now let's turn our attention to Africa. A wave of protests is spreading throughout the continent. It began in Kenya with protests against their budget, or the finance bill as they call it. Then they spread across the border to neighboring Uganda, and now Nigeria is gearing up to become the third protest hotspot. Young Nigerians are preparing to march against the government. They plan to hold peaceful protests next week on the 1st of August. And this has scared the Nigerian establishment. The country's president, Bola Tinubu, issued a warning on Monday. He said the protests were the work of some sinister people. And he asked Nigerians to not join. The next day, Nigeria's police chief joined the chorus. He said the protests were ill-advised and that the police would not sit back and watch. 2 days later, the Nigerian military chimed in. A military spokesperson said the protests may lead to anarchy. He said that the army would not allow Nigeria to spiral out of control. You can see how rattled the authorities are. Every arm of the government is trying to stop the protests, and not just with threats. On Tuesday, Nigeria doubled its minimum wage to try and diffuse public anger.
Only today, the National Assembly has expeditiously passed the new national minimum wage. You can see how the president is working. It was transmitted only yesterday. Today, it has been passed. A lot of other interventions that the president has also put in place are also going to be looked at expeditiously in the interest of Nigeria. So there's no need for strike. The young people out there should listen to the president and allow the president more time to see to the realization of all the goodies he has for them.
He made that appeal to the quote-unquote young people out there because they are the ones who are organizing the protests. Just like in Kenya and Uganda, across Africa, it is the young people, members of Gen Z, who are organizing the demonstrations. Gen Z is planning the protests using social media. Nigeria's Gen Z are mobilizing under a social media hashtag #EndBadGovernance. The protests in Kenya were also organized under a hashtag. It was #RejectFinanceBill 2024. That's what they call their budget. And this was when the protests had started. Now it has changed to #RutoMustGo. It reflects the changing demands of the Kenyan protesters. Protests also broke out in Uganda this Tuesday. They were organized using the hashtag #MarchToParliament. So it's a similar story in all these countries. Young people are fed up. They're also tech savvy, so they're using social media to come together and challenge the entrenched powers that be. The protests are also being broadcast in real time on social media on platforms like X and TikTok. The world can see live footage from the ground, footage of police brutality or military heavy-handedness whenever it occurs. The Gen Z protesters are sharing this footage, which leads to more public anger and therefore more protests. It shows what a powerful tool social media can be and how it can put governments on the back foot. However, this is not the first time that something like this has happened. Protests have been organized on social media before. They've inspired similar demonstrations in other countries and even brought governments to their knees. All of this happened in 2011 and 2012 in Africa itself and parts of West Asia. It was dubbed the Arab Spring. The protests originated in Tunisia and spread like wildfire across North Africa and West Asia. Those protests were organized on Facebook and X, or Twitter as it was called back then. Well, Gen Z won't be caught dead using Facebook, but they're expressing their anger on TikTok and X, and this anger has already spread across 3 African countries. More could follow, and the reaction in Nigeria proves one thing: an angry and vocal youth is every government's worst nightmare.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree. One tree for humanity. One tree for Mother Earth. One tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished. Obviously today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What can you expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
We'll start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. The first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Aaron Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital in Washington,